The Borough of Yeadon, Delaware County, Pennsylvania Borough Council Legislative Meeting of February 16, 2023 is now called to order. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Mr. Dodson.
Good evening. Mayor Rowan K. Hepkins, please.
Present.
President Sharon Council Harris.
Present.
Vice President Marin Johnson.
Present.
Councilor Talia Jones-Waters.
Present.
Councilor Carlette Brooks.
Present.
Councilor Nicole Beatty.
Present.
Councilor Latoya Monroe. Absent. Councilor Leanna Roquel.
Here.
Thank you. A representative from Mr. Mark Munch's office, please. Thank you. Our Finance Director, Mr. Nafis Nichols. Our Tax Collector, Ms. Yolanda Hughes. And our engineer Mr. Joe Facuso.
Present.
Thank you, sir.
Citizens Forum, agenda items only, comment limited to 3 minutes. Mr. Michael Trent.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
One of the things I put down, I wanted to look at was the accounts payable. There's a few things, but one that caught my eye is naturally what's being paid to the legal teams around here. I think, between the two was like $15,000. And I think a lot of that goes back to some of these special meetings that we're having. And, it's like all we're doing is making the lawyers a lot richer. We need to cut down on all these special meetings, especially some of the ones that have been approved and aren't even listed on the website. I noticed tonight there's 7 meetings, including 3 special meetings. So, why do we keep having all these special meetings? I don't think they're that necessary. Okay, I know I'll give responses. But anyway, another thing is our public safety, which, relates to our police staff. And, what is said and what's true varies a lot. I mean, I noticed in a Tribune article, Madam President mentioned that we only need like 12 full-time officers and 10 part-timers. Although you haven't even tried to hire any part-timers at this point, and we can't hire any full-time because we still haven't had a civil service commission that's functioning. I know a lot of people, including myself, have put in to be on that. I applied over 3 months ago. So I don't know what the delay is of why we can't have a civil service commission operative, because it's going to take probably about another 4 to 6 months after that process starts before we can actually have any full-time police officers. So really, in the long run, all you're doing is making us an unsafe environment. And then recently, it seems like there's been misuse of our police officers. I noticed that, I think it was last week, that somebody was trying to take a video of a meeting, and next thing you know, the police were called on her. And that was 2 officers that came in for something that, to me, is like, not really in the line of duty of what they should be performing. I think they even mentioned that there were like 3 or 4 activities that they could be doing instead of coming up here for something that, irrelevant, really. It's not like that's something significant to chastise somebody for trying to film something. Another situation, which I don't know if they were on duty or they were paid overtime, when there was the one event on a Saturday, the culture event, and I saw 3 police officers. I'm sure 3 police officers weren't on duty to, be at that function.
Mr. Trent, your time.
I understand, I know.
Thank you.
Y'all don't want to hear what I said.
Would you allow me to make a correction with her?
Thank you.
You have the floor, Council.
Mr. Trent,
Yes, ma'am.
just want to answer that question as it relates to the multicultural event. Those officers were visiting. They were not paid to be at the multicultural event. They were on duty.
They were invited to visit?
No, they were not.
They just happened to show up.
That's right.
It's hard to believe.
Oh, well, it's hard to believe for you, but that's what happened. That's the facts.
Thank you, Councilor. Mr. Ronald Green.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I want to try to make this short. I've never been up here 3 minutes. First, I'm going to say this right now. Mr. Mayor, I'm looking at you. When there's a fire up there, you're the chief. You never put out the fire. In other words, you are the mayor. And when they're up there fussing, you need to take that mayor hat off and put your reverend hat on. That's it. The next thing, we need that camera up here. Somebody's going to get hit or killed. I'm out there. I'm tired of coming here. I've been coming here since August, talking about this camera. I want it up there. The next thing is the police. I got all these citations right here. This don't make no bit of sense. Almost $2,000 worth of citation. I called 911 this morning. Asked them to have the cops come out there this morning and patrol Bailey Road, 600. Did they come out? No, but they can come in my house. The other day, they came to my house again. The guy's writing us, I don't want to pay the citation. And this guy that comes to my house, I called the school. I had important stuff. I did not cuss. I did not threaten the secretary. They called the cops. That man came to my house and said he's going to give me a citation. That was Tuesday. I'm tired of that too. When you want them to come out there, they don't come out there. Where are they at? When they go out of the station, they go left of Bailey. When they come out of the other station, they go right. They never come down this end. I'm out there all the time. I'm salty with it. New police chief, I expect progress right away. I don't want to wait. We got a new police chief in, I want progress. And I'm tired of these police bothering with Ronald Green. All right. Is my time up yet?
No.
Code enforcement. You walk around here and you walk, oh, my toe. All the payments are uneven. I've called about it. I have gone around, write down notes, give it to Mr. whatever his name is. Why is Yeadon so dirty? Why don't we have the people clean up leaves? I went out the other day, wrote little notes, and the guys up there talking, are you Ronnie? My name is not Ronnie. But people don't like when you're stepping on, I'm stepping on everybody's toes, even the school district. Y'all messing with the wrong person now. I want things done here. I've been a scoutmaster. I've known the Reverend through Scoutmaster, but what's going on up here that he's not doing, I cannot respect him. And the other thing is, how can you have a clean borough,
Mr. Green,
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Green, your time is
You
up.
come out here and you look across at that school.
Your
in
time
the
is up,
park.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Anna?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
One major topic of concern last year was public safety, and I want to take a little bit of time to address that now. Residents watched last year while the police department was systematically dismantled. With the hiring of a new police chief, the hope is that this marks a turning point where council will begin valuing public safety and provide the police with the tools, equipment, and the capital upgrades to do their job. To that end, we need to understand what is being done with reestablishing the Civil Service Commission. without which we're not able to hire full-time police officers. We need a commitment that council will agree to actually hire full-time police officers. The Valori Group, who you put so much trust in, clearly indicated that the borough, Sharon, can you please listen to me? Clearly indicated that the borough needs 28 full-time officers. I would like to hear, before the night is through, a sincere commitment to focus on hiring full-time officers, not just part-time officers. And this should be one of the highest priorities for this borough. We do need to focus on public safety, and we need full-time police officers. If you look around, all the other boroughs are actually putting out that they're hiring full-time officers. So we need to start focusing on this now. It's going to be hard for us to get the full-time officers because there is competition. Another topic that's constantly speaks about is transparency. When I request transparency, I'm specifically speaking to council. Some people think that when I talk about transparency, I'm talking about a call out to the police. I'm not. I'm talking about a call to council to be transparent in terms of expenditures, in terms of conducting a police chief search. There is absolutely no reason why the residents of this borough are not being provided the names of the residents that participated in selecting the 3 final candidates for the police of chief of police. There's also no reason why we were forced to file right-to-know requests to get that information. We are expecting the Civil Service Commission to be reconvened. We expect and are demanding transparency in how the additional candidate that's going to serve on that commission is selected. Outright refusing to consider any candidate that put their name in for consideration without a statute prohibiting them from being considered is wrong. A couple other things that I would like to say is with regards to some of these other meetings, the Citizens Forum was just canceled. People have a lot of things on their plate. If people come here, it's because they have serious concerns with regards to this community. And this is the only way that we can get our voices heard. So asking that you make sure that the Citizens Forum is conducted. There are also saying that there should be non-agenda items afterwards. In most cases, we never have the opportunity to have a conversation with regards to that. And the last things that I will end with is that I hope that we begin a new trajectory in 2023 where councilors show a sincere concern for public safety, a true respect for the police, and that we work towards rebuilding what was previously what I consider to be, and I think several others, the most prestigious police force in our area. Thank you very much.
Ms. Savage?
In the words of John Lewis, if you see something that is not right, not fair, not just, you have a moral obligation to do something about it. And that is why these legislative chambers were packed last year, overflowing with our good and moral neighbors, standing up and speaking out about the not right, not fair, and not just proceedings in these chambers. That is why good and moral neighbors keep coming to meetings to speak, to hold our elected public servants accountable to their pledge to serve our community. Reviewing the accounts payable list and the agenda, we see the usual questionable expenses as well as new ones. Reviewing the agenda, we see it as once again written in such a way as to prevent neighbors from being able to give informed and meaningful commentary before a vote is called. We see you intend to appoint someone to the Civil Service Commission vacancy, but you do not say who. I myself applied last October after no one else did. It is interesting that when I volunteer my free services to the community that I get no reply. The reaction to my volunteering my services is that other people are privately solicited to apply. I applied because my community had a need and I was qualified to fulfill it. I also applied to prevent a repeat of the previous appointment. I assumed if no one applied that Sharon would select a grandchild or someone else over whom she had influence to apply. Any counselor who has read all applications with an open mind will realize I actually am the most qualified applicant. I have paid attention to community policing from my very first welcome to the neighborhood home invasion at age 12. Last year aside, the police department has come a long way over my 4 decades of paying attention in Yeadon. If diversity is more than a talking point, I bring diversity. I would suggest that in addition to appointing someone to the Civil Service Commission and a alternate, because we can have 2 alternates, that a motion be called to advertise for the civil service test for the purpose of hiring at least 5 full-time officers. There's no point in waiting another month for that. Finally, I would like to announce to the community that the Yeadon Good Neighbors Group has reserved a meeting space at Borough Hall for the 2nd Tuesday of each month. On the evening of Tuesday, March 14th, we will have a Meet the Candidates question and answer session. We invite Talia, Liana, Latoya, and all other candidates to join us. If anyone would like to submit questions for the candidates, reach out to me on Nextdoor. If you're not on Nextdoor, I guarantee you know someone who has my email address.
Clara Johnson.
Good evening. First, I want to address the calendar. I'm sure that everyone in here knows who Mayor Mosley is. She's been the mayor, the first black mayor of this borough, serving 3 terms as the first black mayor of this borough. That's not Mayor Mosley. So who's previewing this before it's sent out? I know I'm not going to get an answer, but I know it's not Sharon. She pays for it, but she's not previewing it. Whole lot of other mistakes in there too. Somebody needs to preview before it goes out. As far as the agenda, I see that we didn't have a report from Library. We did not have a report from Community Affairs. We did not have a report from Ordinance and Zoning. I don't know what happened to Code, it's not here. We did not have a report from Fire Department, Emergency Management. Why it's on this agenda for approval? There has been no committee meetings in 14 months. I want to thank Councilor Johnson for attempting to have one Wednesday. Yeah, I'm talking to you. To have one Wednesday. She didn't show up. No, she didn't show up. We were there.
People did.
She did not show up. No, y'all can't talk from the floor. I don't want to hear it. It was canceled at the amen hour, 11 o'clock. I got an email at, tell her what time I got the email or should I get my phone?
Doesn't matter, you got it.
You lie. Simple as that. But I do appreciate the effort. It should be on the web. It's not there. It's not there. Then more than just who I called to tell that there was a meeting. It was canceled, but Roy Hunter was there. We had a very good meeting without you. From the people that I called, they were there. She was not there. Again, I appreciate the effort. I'm sure you'll do better. Also, it was supposed to be a code meeting. Carlette, this is not to browbeat you, but I had some things that I wanted to bring so that we don't have to go through this kind of a stuff in a meeting. We could do that in a smaller setting, and you guys can bring it to the floor. Can I give this to you? I don't care. That's only just a few things.
Your time is up, Ms.
I
Johnson.
know it is. That's just a few things. And
Thank you,
I'm gonna
Ms.
move.
Johnson.
I promise you, I'm going to move.
Sir.
That's just a
Her time
few
is up.
things that I have. And if we have a meeting again, trust me, I will bring more.
I'm going to move the engineer's report up. Mr. Percuson.
Good evening. I only have 2 items on my report tonight. The first was that just putting this on the record, that the borough was awarded an Arley grant. There were only a few issued in the area, and this would be for the traffic signal improvements at McDade and Church. This is a little complicated. The amount of the grant was $287,000. The borough had already, just when I came on board, there was work by Traffic Planning and Design to redesign that signal as part of the whole one-way effort.
Excuse me, Counselor, there's some back noise coming from you guys over there.
Okay. So the Traffic Planning and Design was hired to redesign that signal for it to be a one-way, as part of that whole one-way effort. So that work has already been designed and permitted by PennDOT. The problem is that it also has to be done in conjunction with the other grant on the TA set-aside grant. So we're working in conjunction with the TA set-aside grant and this Arley grant to get that work done. We're still waiting on PennDOT approval for the speed hump on the westerly side of McDade. We had to resubmit the plans. This is a pilot program for the state and PennDOT for a special kind of speed hump that they want to do. That plan was resubmitted to PennDOT as part of that. So we continue to work on that intersection so we can get this sort of facilitated and on a fast track, but working with PennDOT has been a little bit slow in terms of what they have in mind for that speed hump. As part of that then, the second part of my report is that we'd like to proceed with the road program, and this will require council's approval. So working with Mike Pizzula, there are 5 roads on the road program. One is West Cobbs Creek Parkway from McDade to Chester, Yeadon Avenue, Redwood to Cedar, Pleasant Road, Darnell to Parmley, Rundale Avenue, there's a trench crossing at Bell Avenue that needs to be repaired, and the speed hump that we just discussed, in addition to a second speed hump that will be placed on McDade on the easterly side of the intersection. And the estimated amount of that work is $90,000. I assume that money will come, working with Mr. Nichols, a portion of that money will come from your liquid fuels monies. And if council is so inclined to proceed with this work, then we would put it out to bid, and with the hopes of coming back at your March meeting to approve the low bidder on that project. So that would take council's approval tonight if council wants to proceed with that. Now, if you remember that this has gone back almost a year, we couldn't get it done last year in time to meet the PennDOT approval process by October, so we're way early this year to get this done. So.
Okay, I'd like to entertain the motion, but I'd like you to state the motion as you need it to be.
So the motion would be to approve to soliciting bids for the road program for the roads that I just mentioned, with the estimated cost to be $90,000.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Are there any further questions?
I have questions. So, the McDade and Chester Avenue Road, it's not on here?
These were the roads that I got from Mike Pizzolo, so yes, it's not on there.
So, why isn't that on there? I mean, we've been waiting for that road to be repaired for years now. And I was under the impression that that road was scheduled to be repaired.
This would be McDade from which portion of it?
West Cobbs Creek.
West Cobbs
Creek.
West Cobb Creek is on here. West Cobb Creek is on here. West Cobbs Creek from McDade to Chester is on the list.
Okay, are there any other questions?
Okay, so it is on there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me, Mr. Fukusto, can you restate? I have West Cobbs Creek. What are the other 4?
Yeadon Avenue, Redwood to Cedar, Pleasant Road, Darnell to Parmley, Rundale Avenue, that's just a trench crossing at Bell Avenue, and then the 2 speed humps, one west of the on McDade, one west of the intersection and one east of the intersection.
Are they on the 1000 block or the 900 block?
I don't know the block numbers. All I know is the one that we're putting, again, these are all part of taking the speed down at that intersection, right? So one is,
The 900 block would be where Mrs. Williams' property is, that cars keep running into her property.
Yeah,
The
so
other one
one's
would be on
there.
the opposite side of the street.
Right, one is there.
Okay.
And one is on the other side
So
of.
9 and 1000 block on the day.
Right.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
I have another question. So when you say repair, are you, the repair is going to include a complete resurface, a digging up and?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it'll be milled, the surface will be milled and then resurfaced, yes.
Hearing no further questions, would you indicate by raising your hand? All in favor, would you indicate by raising your hand? The vote is unanimous, the motion carries.
Okay. And that's the end of my report unless there are any other questions.
Could you just recap just the total grant amount?
Yeah, right now, with that grant that I just read tonight, the borough has just a little bit north of $4 million in grants for work to be done in various areas of the borough.
I just wanted to make one other observation. We had the opportunity to meet with Mr. Vercuso earlier, the latter part of last month, and there are 6 major projects since he's been our borough engineer for the past year. Summarize those 6 projects and in that meeting, and also Mr. Vercuso gave us a very, very strong admonition to the state and condition of the underground infrastructure. Many sewer systems throughout this borough, over 100 years old, are in desperate need of repair. So as we move forward with Mr. Vercuso, we will be addressing those and putting top priority on those conditions that he's recommending that we take very, very serious consideration of. Outside, thank you very much, Mr.
Yeah, and as I did tonight with the road program, in subsequent months, I'll be coming for council approval for each and every one of those projects as they move forward.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Vercuso. You may also be excused.
Thank you.
I would like to be recognized.
Yes, Councilor.
I would like to make a motion to amend the agenda to include the termination services of Joel Avery.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Okay. Are there any questions?
I do have a question. Is Mr. Avery responsible for this calendar?
Absolutely not.
Mr. Dobson, would you answer that question, please?
Mr. Avery didn't do the calendar. In fact, I'll take full responsibility to the calendar that got to me late. I was the lead on it. I did not approve it, but I'll take full responsibility. When I talked with the editor, that was supposed to be a fun fact in Yeadon is that the first African-American mayor was. That wording was missing. The names of the vice president and the Supreme Court justice was also supposed to be under their photographs. I will also say I won't apologize that I raised $12,000 in 1 week myself, and it didn't cost the taxpayers a nickel for that calendar. But I do apologize for all of the mistakes in it.
Well, thank you, Mr. Nichols. And I do appreciate you taking responsibility for same. However, it still remains that this calendar is an embarrassment because throughout this calendar is a lot of mistakes, number one. And number two, specifically, I see we're promoting Jacksonville Public Library.
Again, Councilor, I didn't approve the final version of the calendar, but I'll take full responsibility.
So thank you.
I don't know who, but I did not. But I was the lead on it. So as a leader, I will take full responsibility.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. So we're not paying for that. That's what you're saying?
We raised money for it. The borough didn't pay it out of its general fund, no.
So.
We did get a credit back, yes. So there's excess money based off of fundraising efforts of $12,000.
So will you be seeking some sort of reimbursement because of the lack of integrity of that calendar?
We have a credit for next year's calendar.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So Mr. Avery, he's responsible for our website still? Okay,
The question is, yes. He
Okay.
and a gentleman by the name of John are responsible for our website.
okay, well, here's my problem with that.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor with regards to
Well,
Mr.
I'm
Avery.
still in the questions, I'm still asking questions. So here's my problem. The problem is simple. February 1st was the first day of Black History Month, and our website has yet to recognize that. That's disgraceful. That's number one. Number two, Mr. Avery has done absolutely nothing deserving of $4,500 every month for the past 13, 14 months that he's been getting. It's atrocious. And we need to stop playing around with taxpayers' monies. We could put those monies to something else that will absolutely benefit us.
I'm going to weigh in on the conversation with regards to Mr. Avery. Mr. Avery was hired to be the public relations specialist for the Borough of Yeadon, January 2023. He is, 22. He came to this, he was invited to serve the interests of the borough before any major decisions were made from this council. Because the reputation of the Borough of Yeadon has been marred time and time again by local infighting with politicians and et cetera. It's just the culture of this particular. Why was he paid? Excuse me, Councilor.
Before we were
Counselor.
even sworn in, you were spearheading conversations
Counselor.
with Joel Avery.
Counselor.
You were already dealing with Joel Avery before
No
we were
information.
even sworn in.
Counselor, I'll give you permission to speak. I am speaking now. You may have
That's
your,
fine.
you
Just have to
may
tell the
speak after I'm finished. The image of this community, the suburban community, the bedroom community of Philadelphia, that has a rich heritage, diversity, tree-lined streets, low crime, good public service, was the image that Mr. Avery was to promote in this town. Mr. Avery has the credentials of a journalist for the past 20 years. Mr. Avery, at the discharge of our former police chief, we hit a firestorm of allegations of racism for the 4 predominant council members that voted not to renew that contract.
And you deserved it.
And this council were thrown into national media condemning 4 African-American women who hired the former chief. And Mr. Avery provided editorial recommendations. He provided the gathering of information that were facts to give to the media, national media, local media. And so Mr. Avery has done his job. In addition to that, he worked hand in hand with Mr. Core before he, just a moment.
Please, ladies and gentlemen.
So I'm giving this input, I'm giving this input because he has fulfilled his responsibility as a public relations. And it has not just been for my, excuse me, Counselor.
It's time to move on. It's not true.
He is the public relations vendor for this borough. And this motion that you have, he is under contract for this borough through the end of this year.
No, he is not.
Now,
No, he's not.
we have enough lawsuits pending against this borough. Joel Avery should not be another. And so I am simply setting the record straight with regards to Mr. Avery. That's what I'm doing. Both Councilor Jones Waters, Councilor Johnson, Councilor Brooks, and all of you were given, every councilor on this council was given the contact information when this gentleman was hired. You had every
Lies and
opportunity
garbage. Lies and
to
garbage.
call him, to talk to him. There is no secret. You have you have a copy of his contract. All of that has been provided to you.
It's an agreement, not a contract.
So I just want to
No,
go
I
on
had
the
the floor
record
after
for what that is.
He
and
has
what-
not been serving the duties that he was
And-
hired to do. He did not. The website has not been appropriate since January 2022. He has not done anything other than serve you specifically.
He
I
has-
have never
That is
seen
not
an
true.
article
And also, you
with
talking
him
about
promoting.
tree line
Hold on a minute.
streets.
Yeah, we don't even have
Counselor-
trees anymore.
Counselor-
You had them all cut
Counselor
down.
Beatty,
Well,
you can have the floor after Counselor.
Well, this is what my statement was. In regard to Joel Avery, first of all, we never agreed as a council to hire Joel Avery in the first place. He was just kind of thrust upon us. We never voted to hire this gentleman.
We did vote to
Well,
hire
if
him.
we did, I don't remember
Okay.
voting for
He
it. We
wasn't
may
voting.
have, but this is where we are now. You're saying that he did all of these things to support the borough. The things that you mentioned have nothing to do with the general public and their interests. It goes back to what Ms. Rothklow said. It is to serve whatever you felt as though you wanted to put out there in the community for your benefit. That has nothing to do with the residents. That has nothing to do with the rest of the people on council. Joel Avery has never come to us as the other three councilors on asking us to provide anything for him, to put in a newsletter, to do anything. So he's not serving the community. He's serving your interests. And if he's done that, and he's gotten paid to do that, we need to move on. He's not doing his job. He submits the same invoice month after month, identical, and nobody submits an identical invoice every month to provide a service. He's not doing the same thing every month. And he never comes to any meetings, he doesn't present any reports, none of that. And no, I'm not chasing that man down and asking him anything. He needs to come to the council meetings and he needs to make if he's doing all this work, he should be providing some type of report to the council. That's the bottom line. I'm not calling him. For what?
Okay, Councilor Beatty, I will respond to you. I have asked Mr. Avery to provide written reports and to go back even historically and provide those reports to you, along with as an addition to those invoices. I have just recently asked him to do that, so that you get a picture of what he has been doing in order, and it's not just for me. I happen to be sitting in this chair. I happen to be the target for many news situations and wanting the answer from the president of council, what in the world is going on in Yeadon with the constant acrimony, the constant attacks, the constant disruptions. That has been the question. And when you have controversial issues where we are sued, where we're in litigation that we could not answer, Mr. Avery has to formulate to the mass media, the Inquirer, the Daily Times, WHYY, all of those media outlets had to have a response from us. And it is the job of the public relations officer to respond to those questions and to give input from this council in representing the interests of this town. And that is what Mr. Avery has done.
He does that every month?
He does it every month, yes.
May I have the
Yes.
floor?
There's a
Yes.
motion on the floor.
May I have the floor?
Yes, Counselor. Go ahead, Counselor.
I was having a committee meeting on Wednesday past, yesterday. I found out that the information had been given to Mr. Avery, and Mr. Avery had passed it on to Jean, and somehow or another, it got on the website incorrectly. So I was told that there was no committee meeting last night, that it was for the 22nd, which is why I was not there. This has been going on for months, confusing, where I'm sitting in a committee meeting and people aren't there because they don't even know the meeting is going on. The same with Councilor Brooks was there, and people don't even know because the information is being put on the website or in the newsletter incorrectly. Now, maybe Mr. Avery has done a good job previously. First of all, he has no business doing the newsletter. He has no business on the website. And I don't know why you feel he should be paid for these things. And at this point, it's too many cooks in the kitchen.
Okay,
I would like to.
Thank you.
Just a moment. I want to respond to Councilor Johnson with regards to that, and then I'm going to ask Councilor Jones-Waters to share what she has. As you're well aware, Mr. Avery is not a webmaster. Mr. Avery is not a webmaster. Mr. Avery works with, what is John's last name? The gentleman?
So we have
Who is-
people,
And the borough
we have
manager.
people
And the
that
borough
has
manager.
access to our website and we don't even know their
And the
name.
borough manager.
Counselor,
Paying people that we don't even know.
The last webmaster.
just a moment. Mr. Dodson will give you the name of the people who are responsible.
He's from Amsterdam. His name is John Druitt.
Jan de Ruyter.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
We
Thank
never voted to hire him either.
That's the person who puts his stuff on YouTube.
That's it. That is
And we
the-
didn't hire him to
Right.
do
You
anything.
didn't answer me when I asked who was Jan de Ruyter. When we first started this.
Please, no speaking from the
Not
audience.
from the audience.
No speaking from the
Not
audience.
From the audience.
We're trying to move the meeting along.
Okay. For clarification, Mr. Avery is not the webmaster. He coordinates with the videographer. He coordinates with
The
this
borough
gentleman.
manager.
Yes, with the borough manager. He coordinates with myself, with any of the counselors here. He coordinates.
Never coordinated with me.
And if he's never coordinated with you, you have an open invitation to coordinate with him.
Lies and
The
garbage.
fact of the matter is, that is not laid at his feet. When Mr., no, when Gary Core left, no longer doing the newsletter, was responsible for doing the newsletter under contract. When he left, Mr. Avery stepped in to get those newsletters out. The newsletter, I agree with Councilor Roadcloud that nothing has been done with regards to Black History Month because they are not, information has not been provided to them to do that, to update the website.
But anything involving your town hall is on the website. Everything that involves you is on the website.
Counselor, please. As a matter of fact, we have been interviewing, myself, Mr. Dodson, have been interviewing Councilor Johnson, 3 vendors who can take care of our website, our social media sites at the highest professional level as a webmaster. You will have that information. Was it sent, Mr. Dodson, yet? That information will be provided to every counselor for your review.
Point of order. Point of order. We're talking about Joe Avery.
So your questions with regard, any further questions are Councilor Jones-Waters.
I have really lost my chain of thought. One of the things, though, I was echoing.
Now, you have to take off your mask because we can't hear you.
One of the things that I was going to say was
Hold
you
your mic
mentioned
closer.
it. You mentioned it, Sharon, as far as Council President, as far as Joe Avery not being a webmaster. He is not the webmaster. I think what the other council members seem to have a problem with is the part of, I guess, the display of the disruptions.
Councilor Roadcloud can speak for herself.
Of the disruptions.
that's not my
And so that did not begin with Mr. Joe Avery. That began with Gary Core. But in saying all of that, you guys make it seem like that this man is taking charge of everything. He's collaborating with the borough manager. So, no, your borough manager has to get it right. The borough manager has to get it right. No, he has to get it right.
I just said fire him and he's getting it wrong.
It wasn't him, it was Joe Avery.
is the borough manager. He's in charge.
Let's take the vote, please.
Okay.
There is a motion on the floor.
Okay, wait.
There is a motion for Councilor Brooks. Councilor Brooks has the
All right, I
floor.
just want to say a few things about Joel Avery. I did get the opportunity to speak with him quite often. And what I appreciate about him, I don't know how much he should be getting paid, but what I do appreciate about him is because when all the propaganda, the lies, and the rhetoric that's going on about myself and other council members, he straightened it out. He was telling the truth. He put the facts out about myself. And, well, you can say what you want to say, but I'm telling you, and I respect him for what he have done for me. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be fired. I'm not saying that he should stay here. What I'm saying that I've seen the work that he have done. I know that everybody could have talked to him, and I have said in the past, call him. Have you ever talked to him? No. Well, you should call him. Nobody calls him.
Why is the borough paying for that?
Because that is
That
the
should be
contract
something
amount. That
you
is the
should pay
contract.
for.
Pardon me?
You want somebody to speak for you, you pay them.
No.
And-
You
and-
have to
Why is
understand.
the borough paying for that?
There's a motion on the floor.
And to be quite honest, and I appreciate what you just said, Councilor Brooks, but here's my concern as well. I'm glad he was able to come to your defense, but he didn't come to my defense
to the town's
when the
defense.
borough decided
He came
to
to the
put me
town's
on the
defense.
website.
He came
on the
to the town's
website.
defense.
On the website where he decided that I should be singled out and misrepresented on the borough's website. So Joel Avery was working for Sharon Council and
not
whatever
a
she wanted, and we
misrepresentation.
need to stop funneling him $4,500 every month to do nothing. He's not helping this community at all. Enough is enough.
And enough
is
was,
enough.
Councilor-
$4,500 is constantly being funneled to him. He issues the same identical invoices every single month. He does not do $4,500 worth of work, period.
You have everything he has, right?
It sounds like he came to the aid of everybody else except for a few.
He came
so
to the
I
aid-
don't want to pay him with my tax dollars, period.
I also want to ask, Boz, is it a contract or is it an agreement? And what's the difference?
It's an agreement, it's not a contract.
So,
It's not a contract. It's not a contract, it's an agreement.
I have the agreement
Ask the
right
solicitor.
here.
Mr. Boggs, would you please explain what it is, please?
Okay. So in legal terms, a contract has certain elements to it. It has consideration, it has acceptance, it has terms. It's a very specific legal thing. In Pennsylvania, everyone is at will. When there is something put into writing that falls short of a legal contract, that could be, called an agreement, you can call it whatever you want. It's a promise, it's a hope. But it's normally what Mr. Avery has. There's no terms. There's nothing in it about what happens if either party wants to terminate it. So if Mr. Avery decided to walk away, there's nothing we could do about that. If we decide to get rid of him, there's nothing Mr. Avery can do about it. What's written down is a hope that this relationship would go on for 2 years.
Okay.
And the contract.
Okay, hold on a minute. Okay. Yeah.
It's only for a year.
Well,
It ends the end of the year.
okay.
The motion is on the floor.
The
Point of
agreement,
order.
The written document that I signed for Mr. Avery, he has every right to test the law
Well, let him
on that
test it.
agreement.
Let him test it.
And so, Mr. Boggs,
Mr. Boggs,
if you
that's why Mr.
ask,
Boggs is
if you,
here.
if,
That's why we
excuse
got a
me.
lawyer. That's right. Let him test it.
If if you ask the question for the, if you ask the
Yeah.
question about the contract for hiring,
contract.
excuse me,
It's not a contract.
please don't answer from the floor.
Mr. Boggs said it was not a contract.
Okay.
And it's point of order, let's
I'm
reel
gonna-
it back
yes,
in.
and I'm gonna make this final comment. Every vendor, every person that works for this town, that we have voted
She's
to
trying
appoint.
hard.
From Mr. Nichols, we appointed him.
What Mr.
Mr.
Nichols got
Dodson,
to do with a point
we
of
appointed
order?
him.
We're talking about Mr. Avery.
I have the floor,
Point
ma'am.
of order.
I have the floor.
We're talking about Mr. Avery. Why are you
Yes.
bringing in all
And I'm
other
going to make
vendors and
reference to,
contractors?
excuse me, and I'm going to make reference to, we do not
Because you're
have-
belaboring the
excuse
point.
me.
Let's get to the vote.
Okay, and I'm.
You're belaboring the
we
point.
will get to the, we will get to the point.
Let's get to the vote, please.
Mr. Boggs and Mr. Munch's office does not have quote unquote quote a contract. We can decide to tell the current solicitor we no longer need your service.
You're trying to intimidate you're trying to intimidate. That's what you're doing. You're trying to intimidate the other contractors and or vendors.
Counselor,
That's intimidation. That's an intimidation tactic.
Counselor, you're out of order.
No, you're out of order. The vote.
There is a motion on the floor.
The motion on the floor is it is my concern that we will have another lawsuit.
That's not
Anybody
the motion.
can sue us.
That's not the motion.
Anybody can sue us.
That's not the motion.
If they believe they're being wronged by this town.
Madam President, you have stated your case. You have stated what you wanted, and every counselor here can vote their conscience.
Okay, but I also want to say, to you, Council President, what I want to say to you is that you hear some of the councilors want to let Joe Avery go, and you hear some of the residents want Joe Avery to go. These are their dollars. It's time to work with the community. It's time to work with the community and
Work with
council.
the community.
Well,
Thank you. Thank you.
And the majority of
Thank
the council
you.
raised the taxes.
yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Call for the vote.
So if we listening to the constituents ain't want to raise the taxes.
There's a motion on the floor.
No, they wanted the taxes
No, they
raised.
didn't.
Oh,
No, they
yes, they
didn't.
did. Some
No,
of
they
them did, some of them
Most of
didn't.
them
They
did
didn't
not.
care.
Most of them did not.
Order,
we talking
please.
about that?
There's a motion on the
Why are we
floor.
talking, well, guess what? I stand by my
Councilors, there's a
vote.
motion on the floor.
Stand on mine too.
Councilors, there's a motion on the floor.
Call for the vote. They trying hard to keep Joel Avery. They don't want to let it go. I really want to know what's going on with Joel Avery. I need to know what's happening.
I'm going to call for a 10-minute recess. 10-minute recess. 10-minute recess. To chambers. 10-minute recess.
No.
10-minute recess.
No. It's a motion on the floor. It's a motion
Do we have
on
the
the
votes for
floor.
that?
The motion is
There's a motion for recess. Do we have?
No,
is there a
no.
We need to take this vote.
No.
We are going to recess and we're
No,
going to talk about it.
no. Is there a motion to recess? Is there a motion on the floor to recess? Mr. Boggs just said he needs a motion on the floor.
If, it doesn't make any sense if only 2 people are gonna go back to the meeting.
No. We cutting that gravy train. That's even more reason why.
Any different than anything we vote on? You gonna take a recess?
And that's-
You don't want to vote a certain way?
But you see, that's even more.
Hang on. Let's make sure, stop. Let's make sure that everyone knows, because this is what the 10 minutes would be. Let's make sure everybody knows that if we fire Mr. Avery, there is a possibility that he sues us.
Okay, good.
Let
Let him sue.
Please, no talking from the audience.
All of the counselors know before they vote that if they vote to fire him, he could sue us.
Do what you got to do.
Do what you.
Because I'm gonna vote the way I feel like voting.
And not only that,
There's a motion on the floor.
I have a copy of the agreement. And nothing in the agreement has anything to do with a contract. I have a copy.
And that's a bunch of BS anyway.
It's an agreement. It's an agreement. And there's no terms in there saying if he quits. Right, exactly. They're trying hard. They're trying hard. They're trying hard.
I'm not recessing. You do what you gotta do. I'm not going back there because I already know.
I'm not either. And I'm going to put on my research cap. I'm going to get down to the bottom of this.
You going what? You going...
I'm going to get down to the bottom of this.
Oh my God.
I'm going
so
to
tired.
get down to the bottom of this.
I'm exhausted. This is just exhausting.
It's draining.
It's draining. Because it shouldn't have to be
this difficult.
Take the vote. You vote the way you want to vote. I'll vote the way. It's not that deep. Just vote. Yeah, I know. I'm not believing. All of a sudden, worrying about getting sued. Are you serious?
No, we're not tabling it. We're not tabling it. No, we ain't tabling it. No, we're cutting the fat tonight. We're cutting the fat.
Motion to table.
This is crazy.
Okay, there's been a motion to table and it's been seconded. Can we?
No.
All right, who's voting to table?
Who's voting to table this motion?
I just want to get it over, yes.
Raise your hand if you're voting to table.
There's only two.
That doesn't make it.
Motion failed.
Motion failed.
Motion failed.
So now we can take the vote.
Now get the regular motion going.
There's a motion on the
There's a motion on the floor.
All in favor to turn.
We can still pay it.
There's a motion on the floor.
There's an amended motion on the floor to remove Mr. Avery. And so that motion has not been completed. We've had quite a bit of discussion about it. I am very much concerned that we will have another lawsuit.
And that's fine, Madam President.
And it's not fine.
That's your concern. That's not the rest of our concern.
It is never fine.
That's right.
Excuse me.
You're trying to hinder us from taking the motion.
Excuse me, Counselor.
No, you're trying to hinder. We need to vote on the motion.
It is never fine to put this borough in a position to be sued and have to hire and have to, Counselor.
Point of order. The motion is on the floor.
Counselor, it is
the motion is on the floor. Your intimidation tactics is not going to work.
It's not working.
It's not going to work.
There is a motion on the floor.
Take the vote.
Can you repeat the motion, please?
Yes.
So that we are all clear.
The motion reads, determination.
To amend.
I didn't, no, ma'am.
No,
There's
no,
amend.
wait,
No,
no.
there's no amend. The motion reads determination of Mr. Joel Avery. That's the motion.
The motion is to terminate the services of Joel Avery.
Immediately.
Oh, you hear that? She quit pro quo. She said, you terminate. She said, if you terminate Avery, Dotson is next. That's what she just said. That's what she just said. You see what I'm talking about? See what I'm talking about?
Let's reel this in. Let's take the vote.
Corinne, you heard her. You heard her, right? You heard her. You see what I'm talking about, people? Oh, I'm telling it all. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're going to take that vote. Yeah, you done overstepped your bounds. Let's get the vote. Let's get the vote popping. Call the roll. Call the roll.
Stop looking at each other and
Call the roll.
Council President, what is your pleasure?
No.
Councilor Loren Johnson.
Yes.
Councilor Jones Waters.
No.
Councilor Rowe-Cloud.
Yes in English and sí in Espanol.
Councilor Brooks.
I recuse my vote.
What'd you do?
Recused or.
You abstain?
Abstain.
Abstain, okay. Councilor Beatty.
Absolutely yes.
The vote is 3 yes, 2 no, and 1 abstention.
The motion fails.
Thank you.
No, the motion
failed.
The motion passed.
No, the motion failed.
The motion.
It's not even about the other.
You have the abstention as a no vote.
Abstention.
No, it ain't even about the other
It's
county.
3-2 and an abstention.
She just chose not to vote.
So it's 3-1 to 3-2.
Abstain vote is like a no vote. Oh my God.
You just don't count the vote.
So is it a tie? No, it's 3-2. Well, then the motion passed. So that's all right.
The motion
Mr.
passed.
Boggs, it was 3-2 and 1 abstention.
It's not rocket science. 3-2, the motion passed.
Okay, now let's borrow about it.
The motion passed.
The motion passed.
There's nothing to debate. People didn't like the vote of the chief, right? We have to go with it. People didn't like the vote here, we gotta go for it.
So it's 3-2.
Yeah, it's 3-2, the motion passes, with 1 abstention.
It's 3-2. So what's the discussion? What's the problem?
I can't give that advice. Sharon?
Some people didn't like the vote of the chief, we had to go with that, because
Excuse
that's
me, Mayor.
legal.
What we're debating here tonight is whether an abstention vote is considered a no vote according to the Borough Code, or according to Robert's rules. So he is reviewing that now. Thank you.
Abstentions do not count in tallying the vote negatively or positively.
Thank you.
And who didn't know that? She knew. She just trying to pretend like she didn't know. She knew.
Sure. Just describes a quorum.
Can you take over
I'm sorry. I can't do it. We have stuff to do.
We will.
Right there.
Of course she does.
And she said it on the floor.
I know.
We got to
See, that's why I said the intimidation. The intimidation. We got it on camera. Everything's on camera. Intimidation. You said if she votes, she said it, if she voted against Joe Avery, then Dotson is getting fired. That's what Councilor Jones Waters said. It did. I guess we are all witnesses. We're all witnesses here.
My conversation,
Excuse me?
you heard me.
No, I
I said
didn't.
my
That's what I said.
conversation was for you, not her.
Well, you said it out loud.
I can say what I want to say. No,
That's
no
your
quid pro quo.
Consideration for the accounts payable list. May I have a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second for consideration to pay the accounts payable list for February.
I have questions.
Questions? Okay.
We have an addendum for Ms. McGougall. I spoke with her today. And I motion that that be tabled until we're able to speak with her. If she's looking for it to happen.
Ms. McGougall
Who
needs to
made
be
the
paid.
motion for the AP list?
I second it.
But who made it?
Thank you, Councilor.
Councilor Brooks, I was right. And
Thank you.
Talking to Ms. McGougall.
I spoke with Ms. McGougall.
Right.
In reference to $600 fee.
But why were you speaking to her, Counselor?
Because I'm a councilwoman and I can speak with whomever I want, Madam President.
But Counselor, Mr. Dodson.
Something is wrong with the $600 payment. We have to look down there, so she wants us to.
You did not.
Maybe we can bring it down.
That's not your
No one
authority,
told you
Councilor
anything.
Johnson.
That woman was hired. No, that woman was hired
She
to
told me
do that
2
event.
weeks before that event
That
even
woman was
happened.
hired. You
That's
shouldn't
why
have did
you
whatever
on
you
the
said
phone.
you, whatever you
That's
said
why
that you
you
were
on that
doing,
phone.
whatever you said.
Oh,
you were
see, the
doing,
truth
you
comes out.
Please, you have to address all, no, you have to address all your comments to Madam President. You cannot talk across the aisle. All questions need to be directed at the Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Dodson.
That woman deserves all her money.
Well, Counselor Johnson, I believe you want to make a motion to amend approval of the accounts payable list to exclude the $600 payment to Ms. McGougall.
Yes.
I second that motion.
It's on your addendum, is an addendum on your desk, please?
Yeah, I have it.
Can you pass that to Madam Councilor, please? Vice President.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions? Here, not all in favor, would you indicate by raising your hand?
I'm in favor.
Yes. Those opposed? Those opposed?
Somebody's not voting.
Councilor Brooks, are you voting?
Madam President, may I ask for a point of clarity, please? On this motion to amend, who made the motion, please?
Councilor Vice President Johnson.
And then the second was Councilor Roclow. Thank you. There is a motion on the floor to amend the AP list to exclude Ms. McGougall and her $600 payment. If I'm not saying her name correctly, please excuse me. That's the motion that's now on the floor. Are we doing a name or raise your hand?
Raise your hand
What was it? What's the motion?
to amend the accounts payable list to exclude the $600 payment. to Ms.
Madam
McGougall.
President, I think you asked them to raise their hand. I didn't see the vote. Can you ask again, please? Can you ask? All in
Yes,
favor?
all in favor, would you raise your hand, please?
1, 2, 3.
Those opposed? One abstention.
1, 2, order. Who abstained?
Councilor Brooks abstained.
And
Road clear.
Johnson and Beatty voted to table. Madam President and Councilor John Woods voted not to table. Councilor
One abstention.
So it's 3-2-1.
okay.
The lady did the work. I don't see why she can't get paid. That's ridiculous.
Are there any other, with regards to the account payables, are there any other observations?
Yes, I have some observations. I see here that, I'm just a little confused. So I see here for the chief swearing in, you are asking for reimbursement for $231.89. Tamika Jones Waters, $190.94. And so I'm just a little unclear as to what that is about. I see Pamela Thornton, I guess, $186.75. Was this all for like food or something? Did everybody chip in to buy food? And if this was a borough event, why didn't the borough just take care of it? Order the food so people didn't have to come out of their pockets?
So I can answer the multicultural event. As it relates to the multicultural event, much more money was spent. It was my donation, all of the food products. However, we had to pay for supplies. So a lot of the supplies, that's what the supplies and stuff went to.
What are supplies? What supplies?
It was supplies. If you want to look at the invoice, you can get the invoice.
And Councilor Jones Waters, her reimbursement is for 2 events. That's not one event. That's for 2 separate events. What 2 events? The multicultural event and the smart event. So that, I just, why it's 190, it's not for one event, it's for 2 separate events.
A lot of, for that event, I donated a lot.
So, what really upsets me is when I'm asking how these tax dollars are being spent, and I get smart remarks like, oh, just supplies. Like the taxpayers don't deserve an answer. Something as simple as plates, cups, napkins, that would have been sufficient.
Supplies.
She has no respect
Event
for
supplies.
the tax dollars.
Yes, I do.
Please address the chair. Please
So
address the chair.
I'm moving on to my next concern. My next concern, I hear Mr. Gianmarco, expenses for a physical exam. So I'm a little confused. Excuse my ignorance, but I just assumed like maybe insurance would take care of this, medical insurance or something. I don't know.
And Mr. Box, I always tell a solicitor to tell me to shut up because I don't want to violate anything. But that's an employee matter. He was directed by a borough official to do that. And that's what he did.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols.
All right. And my next question, and this is for Mr. Anthony Scott, and I appreciate the work you do, but for $2,600, is that for 1 meeting, 2 meetings, 3 meetings? I'm confused. $2,600.
Mr. Nichols, could you address that?
That was actually for 3 meetings in the month of January and the chief's swearing-in ceremony as well. So 4 total events. And there was the credit that was owed back to the borough of the $150 from the prior month.
Right. Okay.
And reduce credit rate for the swearing-in ceremony.
Well, that's not an issue. I'm just worried about the $2,600, that's all. Another concern is this doggy service, this animal control service, $1,875 for the month. I mean, what kind of animals is running around here?
So Delaware County Animal Control, that's actually for both months of December and January. Collectively, they picked up 3 animals over that 2-month period.
Wow.
Mr. Fountain, the animal control, they don't pick up dogs, Delaware County Animal Control. So the other gentleman, he picked up 2 dogs, and each dog costs $250.
And so that contract should be canceled.
So let me ask this. So are any of these dogs that are being picked up, are they being claimed by their owners? Because if they're being claimed, then I think these calls should filter over to the owner.
I want to put you on the spot, Lieutenant, but I don't know that answer.
That's fine. Once she picks the dogs up, we wash our hands of it. That's something I wouldn't mind talking to them about and providing that information to the borough. And then you know, the borough wants to build, they can build.
Right, yeah, because it's quite pricey.
Absolutely.
It's quite pricey.
Unfortunately, he's kind of almost the only game in town. Found him 2 years ago, I guess.
Okay.
Before that,
Yeah.
anything.
We used to have a system on,
I know. Okay, but if that's something that you could have a conversation with, Dean Bowden about, because I'm sure if someone lost their like little Shih Tzu and Dean came and picked them up, the owner is gonna go and get the Shih Tzu, right?
I can tell you from just knowing him, he's not gonna be the one that's gonna build the owner. He's gonna build.
Right, but that's why we should have something in place where if the owner picks the dog up after he picks him up, that he keeps a running list and give it to us. And then we should be able to go after the owner, because we shouldn't have to pay for that. You know, it's too expensive. So thank you. Okay, we already discussed Joel Avery, so this will be his last check. Our legal expenses for the month, it looks like total $15,175. Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. And I think that is about it. That's about it.
Okay, so we're calling for the vote. All in favor, which indicate by raising your hand. Would you indicate by raising your hand to approve the accounts payable list to pay the bills? Those opposed? Okay, motion carries. For the consideration for the cash balance report for January. Are there any questions? May I have the motion, please? Is there a second? It's been moved and properly second. Are there any questions?
Thank you, thank you. My head is down, I can't see.
Okay, hearing none, all in favor, which indicate by raising your hand. Those opposed? Under new business, Mr. Dawson,
Hold on, please.
are there any new business?
Hold on 1 minute, let me just get this. No. No, ma'am.
Oh, thank you. The minutes for December 5th, 2022, workshop meeting minutes.
Excuse
Are there
me,
any-
before you move on, aren't we supposed to hire a couple of people?
It's down at the bottom here. If you look at President's Report, number 8. Manager's Report, excuse me, Manager's, number 9.
Okay, I see it, thank you.
December 5th, 2022, workshop meeting minutes. Are there any corrections, additions, or deletions? Do them all at the same time. For the following approval of minutes for December 5th, 15th, December 20th, December 28th, January 3rd, January 9th, and legislative minutes, we don't have those yet, so that G should be held up, because those aren't completed. Through the month. Yes, A through F. Are there any corrections, additions, or deletions to those minutes for A through F? Hearing none, all in favor to approval of these minutes, would you indicate by raising your hand? The minutes, indicate by raising your hand. For the minutes.
Okay, for the dates is.
Yeah, A through F. Okay. Pardon me? I know, but that's, that's a typo. That's a typo. Okay.
What was the vote, I'm sorry?
They were all
All in
approved,
favor? Thank
yes. Okay. The motion carries. The engineer's report is completed. The president's report, just a couple of observations. We are glad to have confirmed for the month of January. Our new chief took office, and he is well on his way. Some of the interesting ambitions he has for the department is certifications. I think the mayor may have some input with regards to that. Certifications of officers in various training modules. We're looking forward to a very successful 2023 for the Borough of Yeadon. We're really very delighted to come out of 2022 and having great expectations for this year. I want to commend our engineer who has worked diligently to get approval to date of over $4 million in grants that reflect work within our borough, and also a determination to apply for the various grants that are available for a new recreation facility for the Borough of Yeadon. 3 other communities that have taken advantage of the stimulus funds and built in the process of building their recreation centers: Brookhaven, Ashton, and what is it? Upper Darby? Is that Upper Darby, Mr. Nichols? That are building new recreation centers for places for their families to meet, to congregate, to share, for exercise, for physical health. We need to do that for our borough here. Many of you are aware when our theater building was demolished. That vacant lot has been there for more than 15 years, just sitting there. Pardon me? Over 20. The mayor is correcting me. The Yeadon Swim Club, there was a segregated swim club that became the impetus for the Nile Swim Club development nearly 100 years ago. That land that is owned by the Borough of Yeadon is still laying dormant. We have had the studies, the soil studies, the location for that facility and for areas in our community park that we can begin now working together to pull together the type of support among counselors here and you in the audience and our residents at large to come behind this effort to build a new recreation center for the Borough of Yeadon. I am very, very enthusiastic about that because we have one of the best engineering firms on the Eastern Seaboard to lead us in the development of funds and the development of that type of facility. So we just invite you to support that with all deliberate support. The other thing is, as you have mentioned here tonight, that our website needs redevelopment. The website needs re-engineering. It needs to be totally brought up to standard and up to date, as well as our social media platforms for the town. We are in the process of reviewing competent webmaster folks that can really do it right, and so that you don't have to be embarrassed to tell anybody to look it up on our website, because we want it to be a top-notch,
It should have never been this manner.
well, that's another question. But we want to have the best website to represent our community and to represent us here in the Borough of Yeadon. So those are a couple of things. The other thing I am reminded of in this Black History Month, that it has taken many, many, many of our forerunners, that we're standing on the shoulders of many African American, in particular, shoulders that allow us to sit in this chamber today. And I want to extend my gratitude to many of you here tonight for allowing us to have a peaceable and respectful exchange in doing the business of this town. We thank you for your presence, for you being here. We don't always agree, and we won't always vote the same way. And that's okay too, as long as we can pay the bills and people aren't getting up walking out. So we appreciate that. I want to thank the mayor for all of his support and his support for the new chief of police. You know, it's just, it's important that we have unity in this community for building a better community. Now, I want to mention an important event that's going to happen on the 21st. We have come together with a local head of our Democratic Committee, Penny Florence McDonald, came to me and she said, we need to bring people together. We have a lot of people that really aren't interested in coming out to council meetings, that aren't interested in participating because of the rancor and things that have happened in 2022. We're moving away from that today. And so on the 21st, she has invited people from the sheriff's office, from COSA, from our senior services. They're going to be here. There'll be light refreshments, but there's going to be a symposium here in the borough on the second floor on the 21st. We welcome all of you. We welcome our community to come out and get questions answered about certain services that are available to them, our senior, our aging population, and many of you, questions about what is happening in our borough, particularly the William Penn School District's ribbon cutting for renovations of Kerr Field. All of those persons that will be here for you to answer those questions. We want to establish a stronger community to build a better community than what we've ever seen. And so that summarizes my report to you tonight. Now for...
Counselor, I have a question about the symposium.
Yes.
So you said the Yeadon Democratic Committee will be hosting a symposium?
It's a co-host. We're co-sponsoring it. I am involved in the process.
You personally?
No, as representing my position on this council. As president of council, it's similar to a town hall, but it's a symposium. It's designed to partner, to have other people coming to answer questions for the benefit of the residents of Yeadon Borough. That is the purpose.
Well, I would think the entire council would.
And you are certainly.
I would think, but when I saw the flyer that you distributed, you just have Penny McDonald as YDC chair, as the host, and yourself as a host. So it gives me the impression that this is something personal for you. So if that is the case, am I correct when I say that the borough will not be spending any monies whatsoever for this symposium?
Councilor,
no, I'm just asking about.
There's no money being spent.
Well, you said light. You
town.
said light refreshments.
Yes.
So who's paying for the refreshments? Who's paying for the space? Who's renting the space?
The space is not being rented, Councilor, and
so it's
Ms.
being.
McDonald will be providing the refreshments.
So the space is being rented for free.
It is not rented at all, Councilor.
So it's being allowed to be utilized by an organization for free. That's what you're telling me.
It's a community event, Councilor.
Because I'm gonna tell you what else has confused me. That you are the treasurer for the YDC. So you're the treasurer for the YDC, the same organization that wants to bring a symposium to the borough, and you're using your authority as a council person to provide them the space and possibly the refreshments. That's a conflict all day, and that's a problem. That's been a problem, and it's not right, it's not fair.
Councilor,
it's not right. And like you said, your name is on it. It's just you. If any monies have to be spent for refreshments and rental of that hall space, it should come from your pockets directly, not the taxpayers.
Councilor, you happen to be entitled to your opinion, but you are incorrect. You are wrong.
I don't want my tax dollars utilized for this.
Well, Councilor, you can speak against unity all day long.
And
that's your prerogative.
And in addition, I am hard pressed that you want unity in this borough, especially since you still have on the website the disruptions and the outbursts and this and that that's targeting not only myself but other councilors as well, in addition to the mayor. So you can have whoever access the website to put on your flyers for the symposium, your flyers for the town hall, your flyer for the multicultural event, but you did not at any point in time instruct that person to remove that negativity. So I find it very hard pressed. The next thing is the rec center. I would love to have a rec center, but we simply cannot sustain a rec center. Let's start with maybe a supermarket, bringing something of value to this community that we can walk to and actually buy food that's going to help everyone in the community. So we don't even have a plan as to how we're going to sustain a rec center. We have nothing in writing. We haven't discussed it. This is your baby alone, and you're doing it because this is what you want. And again, playing with people's tax dollars. As far as the COVID funds are concerned, Mr. Nichols, this is for you. When are we going to receive the outline for the grants for the residents? Well, you spoke upon it. You spoke upon it, Councilor Harris. You spoke upon it.
No, I am going to speak again. When you make references to the rec center, you may not have been a resident in this borough for the past 35 years.
I don't need to be. I don't need to be. I don't need to be.
Counselor, I'm not.
I don't need to be.
Excuse me.
I don't need to be.
Excuse me. For the past 15 years that I've served off and on this council, that has been a desire for the residents of this community to have a rec center. You may not be aware of that, and that's okay. There is a definite support for a recreation facility in this town, as it is for a sit-down restaurant where you can have a cup of coffee, as it is for a supermarket that was closed in the Baghdad shopping mall some 20 years ago. There's a deed restriction there in that mall that keeps you from putting another grocery store there. You may not be aware of that.
Address it then.
Excuse me, and I have addressed it.
Since you know about it, fix it.
Excuse me, Counselor, I'll tell you how we addressed it. In 2014, we organized a redevelopment authority for the borough of Yeadon that gives it the power of what is that domain? Eminent domain that the borough can purchase at market value any property within this borough that, given market value, for the taking of that property and establishing it for a municipal purpose. We have not been able to do that because of the infighting in a council and the re-election process that every 2 years you get a new councilor and that person has to be brought up to speed about what the goals of the town is, and before you can get anything done, those people are voted out and a new group comes in. The unity in the community speaks to the fact that you get people who act like adults and make decisions for the town that are in the interest of the town and not in their personal interests or their political disagreements. That is the problem here in Yeadon and has been for many, many years. So as you talk about not having a rec center and wanting a supermarket, I agree that you need a supermarket and you need to have qualified lawyers that will get the job done for you. And so there are things that has to happen here, but the fighting and the things that you referenced about having counselors on tape that are constantly screaming and disrupting and not following any decorum as an embarrassment to this town and to anybody that looks at it. So yes, I agree that if you're going to be dignified and respecting this house, those pictures should come off. Those reels should come off of the website, and a new website that invites people to love, work, and play here. And until that happens, you'll keep having this total turn where nothing ever gets done in this town. And when you're opposing someone like Mr. Avery, a journalist, who wants to put the town in a good view, you oppose him. Why? Because he works for the town and because we selected him on a 4-person majority. So, you don't talk about any of this outside of this chamber. You don't talk about it in executive session. You don't share what you think would be a good thing to do for the town that relates to hiring, that relates to retaining people.
That's not true. That's not
Excuse
true,
me, Counselor. When you come to these meetings,
get off that high
it
horse
is
and
about,
stop it.
excuse me, it is about who's on this side and who's on that side.
You should
She
be on the
has
side of
to,
what's
she has
right.
to stop
That's
doing
the
this.
bottom line.
And so unless you are prepared to make the decision to work together, for me to hear your ideas and you to hear mine, and stop casting blame that's unfounded. When you're ready to do that, we can move forward. You have people here. We make $200 a month to come here for the aggravation. And the power. For the aggravation, sir. For the aggravation. And so.
Point of order. Point of order.
This is what you want.
Let's reel it back in.
You asked the question, and I gave you the answer. Thank you.
Reel it back in.
Madam President.
I spoke about sustainability for a rec center. That means money. How are we going to pay for a rec center?
Point of order.
Point of correction, Mr. Dawson.
In the conversation previously, you stated that our properties have had soil samples. Since the meeting is being recorded, we have had no soil samples of any of our properties. 2 of our properties have feasibility studies. The movie theater does not, and all the movie theater does have is an assessment. So since the meeting is being recorded, I just want both council and the public to realize that these are the things that have taken place with our 3 available properties.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Dodson.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
The consideration, I'm going to jump to the consideration for the new zoning ordinance. Mr. Boggs, could you explain that, please?
So most of the solicitor's report was done in executive session, but the one thing that I do need from council tonight is in preparation for our March 16th legislative meeting. I would like a motion to advertise a amendment to our zoning ordinance law. Council has asked me to look into adjusting our zoning ordinances so that it properly will be able to address methadone clinics, illicit substances sales in the future, anything having to do with things, substances that are currently illegal or currently quasi-illegal, becoming legal, Suboxone, methadone, these types of...
Psychiatric.
Yep, psychiatric medication. There are...
Psychiatric medication?
Yeah, there's, anything that is currently controlled may not be controlled one day and may be used in therapy, in these therapy sessions. And we're not allowed to exclude these buildings from our town completely, per the Supreme Court, but we can zone them where we would like them. So I'm going to take a look at our zoning ordinances and make some amendments to clearly zone these types of businesses in the industrial part of our town. And also, I'm going to work with Mr. Dotson. We're going to check out the square footage in our industrial zone and make sure that if limitations need to be put on space, that we do that as well, but just that we update our zoning ordinance to adjust for the current time and for the time in the near future. So if I could just have a motion to
So moved.
advertise.
Second.
Yep, great.
Can you finish the motion?
That's great. Perfect.
Well, I have a question.
Sure.
So you said psychiatric medicine. So how would that affect the pharmacies?
No. So what I mean by anything having to do that's currently controlled, psychedelics, Xanax, Percocet, opioids, anything that's currently controlled, ecstasy, there are plans, mainly with methadone and Suboxone at the moment, to have clinics that use these substances in therapy. So one of the, in England, they're using MDMA, which is ecstasy, in therapy sessions. So that could happen one day here. What's happening now is methadone. And that's what what council has been most concerned about, is that if one of these places wants to come to Yeadon, that we avoid the issue that we had with Restore, and we clearly zone these buildings for our industrial park.
Okay.
So it doesn't affect at all
So you're
pharmacies.
you're referencing products that are illegal that may become legal.
And some are quasi-legal, like methadone is quasi-legal. You
Right.
can't have that without a prescription. You have to be a
Right.
doctor in therapy.
No, it's just
Yeah.
when you said psychiatric medicine.
I could have used a better word.
Right, okay.
Because psychiatrists can give out Xanax, and
Right.
that's not affected. But if
Right.
a therapy session, if a methadone clinic also wants to give out those substances,
Okay.
or if there's a different type
All
of
right, I
therapy-
just wanted to be clear.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Is this going to include recreational marijuana?
Yes.
We don't have smoke shops on
Yes,
Church Lane?
that's exactly right.
Okay.
There's a motion on the floor.
And this is to finish, this is just to advertise. My plan is to 2 weeks before the legislative meeting, have the draft to council. We'll then advertise it 7 days prior per the law, and we'll have copies available of the ordinance here at Borough Hall for the public's inspection.
Okay, we good.
Okay, motion's on the floor. All in favor, which indicate by raising your hands. Okay.
Right.
All right. The vote is unanimous. The motion carries. I do need a recess now, because we didn't discuss in the executive session the selection, the review of the 5 persons who sent letters of interest for the civil service appointment. We'd like to make that appointment tonight. And I've spoken to the mayor about that. So if we could recess for 10 minutes for those of you that have reviewed, council members, that have reviewed those letters of interest and applications. We can talk about that in executive session for 10 minutes, just to get, so we can put a motion on the floor as to who's going to fill that one vacancy, and we'll give you the details about that after this recess. Recess for 10 minutes, please. Okay, all right. In the matter of considering an appointment to the Civil Service Commission, we have discussed it thoroughly, the 5 people of interest that have indicated an interest in serving. I am going to ask for a motion in 2 categories. The first motion will identify a person who has indicated an interest and provided resumes and what have you. We're going to vote not only that person in to fill the vacancy for the Civil Service Commission. We will also discuss with that appointment, what that particular vacancy involves. You may or may not be aware that there is a 2-year, 4-year, and 6-year rotation on the Civil Service Commission. So the person that we select here, that person will be filling the unexpired vacancy, and we'll give you that detail. Mr. Nichols, is he still here? Okay, Mr. Nichols is not here. Okay, so he has a breakdown. We'll discuss that after the vote. Also, we're going to select tonight 2 alternates for the Civil Service Commission. Those alternates will be called upon in the event that an officer is not able to carry out their function or be absent or whatever the case may be. The Civil Service Commission has not convened in the past 2 years, a year and a half prior to now. So it is important that the instructions as it relates to this commission, a very important commission, because it serves not only to go through the process of selecting police officers, but they're in charge of ordering tests. They're in charge of advocacy where officers have a grievance. They represent that officer's interest. It's established by the state statute, and it is a very important position for any town. And as we are in need of searching and securing police officers, both full-time, part-timers are not subject to the Civil Service Commission, but any part-timer that is hired or currently working for the borough can progress and become a full-time officer. So in that intersection, the Civil Service Commission is extremely important. So I'm going to call for the vote, the nomination for the candidate to fill the vacancy for the Civil Service Commission for the Borough of Yeadon. What is your pleasure, Councilor? I would entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Michael Trent to the Civil Service Commission.
It's been moved and properly second for Mr. Michael Trent to be selected to fulfill the vacancy for the Civil Service Commission. All in favor, which indicate by raising your hand. The vote is unanimous. The motion carries. For the alternates, I would like to entertain a motion to appoint Councilor Loren Johnson to serve as an alternate for the Civil Service Commission. May I have a second?
You can make a motion. You have to call. And Alicia Simmons. And Alicia Simmons.
And Alicia Simmons as alternates for the Civil Service Commission. Okay.
So moved.
It's been moved and properly second. Are there any questions? She gave the second. All in favor, would you indicate by raising your?
We can't do it separately.
Did I second? No, that's together.
The solicitor says yes. I made the motion. I made the motion.
Yeah.
All right. All in favor, would you indicate by raising your hand? The vote is unanimous. The motion carries. And now for the mayor's report. Okay.
Yeah, we have a civil service. Oh,
Mayor, you're on.
oh, great. No, mine won't be, thank you, Madam President.
You're so welcome.
Mine won't be long. Just want to bring to your attention that our next mayor's forum will be on Thursday, March 2nd, in the second floor auditorium. All are welcome to attend. We will again be giving out raffle prizes and giveaways. We do have, when you come to my house, we feed you. So it'll be 7 o'clock. All right?
Put it on the website.
Please, let's put that on the website because it hasn't been. Yeah. All right? Police staffing, the borough did hire Chief Henry Gianmarco. I've been meeting with him, and he's been meeting with his staff to get acclimated. He would be at these meetings. He was predisposed tonight, but he will be traditionally coming to these meetings as the previous chiefs have done before. So my report stands as submitted. I'm not going to go over everything. We still have the memorandum of agreement between us and Upper Darby, so that they hold, should we have prisoners, they'll hold the prisoners for us until all those factors have been addressed. We do have the new police chief, but we do need to be up to full staffing or adequate staffing, and then all the various investigations underway needs to be resolved. That is it for my report.
No, thank you, Mayor. Manager's report.
Thank you, Madam President. I will ask council for a motion, consideration of hiring Mr. Javon Jalal as a full-time Public Works employee.
So moved. It's been moved and properly seconded. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all in favor, which indicate by raising your hand. Those opposed? One abstain. Who? You didn't abstain? Oh, you're going to vote? Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's unanimous? Thank you. Also, I'd like to ask council, please, for consideration to promote Mr. Ricardo Maxey to the Public Works Foreman.
I move to table.
Second. Second to the first move. Second to the first motion.
The motion to promote, seconded. Motion to table, seconded. So we got to do the table first. Any questions about the table?
Why are we tabling?
So
It's a personnel matter, so you can't go into too much detail.
for me, it's about seniority.
May I be recognized?
Yes, Counselor.
This is ridiculous. We absolutely cannot bring our personal feelings into the livelihood of these employees. I don't care if you like someone more or someone less. If this man deserves the promotion, give him the promotion. Enough of this. He does what he's supposed to do. He comes with his credentials. He goes above and beyond. And for one person to hold up this man's livelihood is ridiculous. And it's a shame. That man knows what's going on, and he comes to work still every day and perform his job despite knowing that he's being held up because someone has a personal vendetta against him. And it's not right. Enough is enough.
There's no personal vendetta.
Enough is enough.
There's no personal vendetta
Enough is
against
enough.
anyone.
Okay, Counselor.
There's no personal
Counselor,
vendetta against anyone.
Excuse me, Counselor. There's a standing tradition in this borough. In my 37 years I've been here, two employees of this borough that have worked side by side for over 25 years one was just promoted to superintendent.
Based on seniority.
Hold on, Counselor.
No, based on seniority.
Counselor, please. I'm not referring to, excuse me, Counselor. Please, Counselor, don't answer. Don't answer. Counselor. I'm speaking of tradition. I'm speaking of those persons who have lived here, who have worked here for years and takes this borough. Excuse me, Counselor, I don't want any, Counselor, you're a former counselor, and I always call you Counselor, but you are a resident, and if you could just keep your comment to yourself. I'm simply for the benefit of Counselor Roadcloud, who says that she thinks it's some type of personal thing. It's not personal.
It is personal.
The person has been,
It's not just about seniority. It's about you have to factor in credentials, expertise, and performance. Credentials, expertise, and performance. Credentials, expertise, and performance. You just don't promote someone based on seniority alone.
let's just go through the table
does
vote,
not have
and if that
credentials.
fails, we'll go through a regular.
No, we need to give him due justice tonight.
I understand that.
Tonight, due justice tonight.
Any other questions or discussion?
Which vote are we voting
We have to do the table first.
Here's a motion on the floor to table the promotion of Mr. Ricardo Maxey. That's the motion. Please, Madam President.
I'm simply saying, for clarification purposes only.
They're calling for the
The
vote.
person has been employed less than 3 years.
Calling for the vote.
Whatever that.
Point of order. Call for the vote.
And there,
That's all right, don't call for it.
there are other, there
This
are
is
other
ridiculous.
persons.
It's a shame. It's a
There are
shame.
other persons in that highway department that have a high level of dedication to whether whoever is sitting up on this council.
Point of order.
Excuse
Call
me,
for the
excuse
vote.
me, Counselor.
Mr.
I am
Vaz,
still-
can we call for the
Counselor,
vote?
I am the chair.
Well, I'm calling a point of order. I'm calling a point of order.
I'm going to finish my statement,
Yes.
Counselor.
Please finish.
Thank you.
Between you and Talia,
Counselor,
Please finish.
Counselor, I'm going to finish my statement.
disgraceful.
You're disgraceful.
Disgraceful.
So that this discussion has been going on for over 2 months.
Playing with people's
And there is
livelihoods.
still,
How you talking about playing with people lively? He ain't even get the money yet. What are you talking about? And they all make decent money. So what are you talking about?
Who's she talking to?
I'm talking to you. You're disgraceful. You're disgraceful.
She gotta be.
okay. So I don't think it's a situation that has been resolved among counselors. And it should be more deliberation about it, so that.
No, more than 2 months.
Okay.
Take the vote. Take the vote. Please repeat the motion so
Motion to
everybody's
table.
clear.
This is a motion to table the promotion.
All right, come on, let's
All right.
vote.
Call, please.
All right, call for the vote to table. Everyone in favor of tabling it, would you please indicate by raising your hand? Well, the motion fails. Those opposed?
Madam President, you vote to oppose.
Yes.
Thank you.
So the motion failed. All right.
Now we need to vote.
It's not even.
It's 3. It's 3-2.
Man, we
Okay.
went straight up.
All right. So now for the motion to promote Mr. Maxey. All in favor indicate by raising your hand.
To Public Works for
Public Works.
I abstain
Okay, so
due
that's
to
one
the
opposed
seniority,
and one abstain.
lack of seniority.
Okay, all right. Did you got that, Mrs. Johnson?
Congratulations to Mr. Maxey.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mr. Maxey.
Oh, we have to get the tax collector.
Yes, the tax collector's report, yes. No. Okay, so, for our tax collector report, Ms. Hughes. Thank you for your report.
Can we take the microphone to?
Yes,
Tax collector?
bring the mic to her. Ms. Hughes, I'm gonna bring the mic to you. Okay. So you don't have to come over here.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. This is my first formal report to the council for this year. I want to first report that the 2023 bills have gone out. So if you have not received your bill, you need to call the office and make sure that I get it to you. Because some bills have been returned for different reasons. I want to remind our taxpayers that there are no cash payments and there are no partial payments. The office, okay, I should have told you that. There was problems in getting the online payments program set up, but it should be resolved and people should be able to make their payments online if they want to by the end of the month. The 2022 delinquent real estate bills have been submitted to the Tax Claim Bureau. I do not know who is collecting the delinquent bills for sewer and trash, since Portnoy is not supposed to be doing it now. Is that my understanding?
Portnoy, yeah, give the name, give the name.
Okay, well, somebody,
Yeah, there's a new contractor. There's a new contractor for delinquent sewer.
okay. Well, okay, just so that we know, we need to get those collected, so I'll check again with Mr. Nichols. Now, I want to report since the bills went out on the 1st, we have collected money. And to date, we have collected $6,941.90 for real estate taxes, $16,800 for trash, and $22,752.10 for sewer. Total being $101,494 and no cents. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, as for the, at our workshop meeting, we had several summaries of reports from the department heads, finance, ordinance and zoning, public works, public safety, the police department's report. The fire department did not make a report. They were not present. Emergency management was taken care of by our borough manager. And so the only report that we are lacking is the fire department's report. But I'd like to have a motion to accept those reports, summaries as presented in the workshop earlier this month. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Is there a second? It's been moved and properly second to accept the head of department reports as provided in our workshop meeting of February, I'm sorry, first Monday. So all in favor would indicate by raising your hand. Those opposed? Okay, one opposed. She opposed. Okay, the motion carries. Again, on the recreation, any old business? Okay, hearing none. Citizens forum for non-agenda items.
Oh, I'm sorry, can I make a statement?
Yes.
Just so all the residents know, Code, Public Works, and Recreation will be meeting the Wednesday immediately prior to the council meeting. You have to be careful because I can't say the third Wednesday. Because of the way they come in, it could be the second Wednesday. So it's the night before the council meeting, starting March 16th.
At 6?
At 6 o'clock.
Can I ask you a question, please? When you meet the third Wednesday, will that give you and whoever is meeting time enough to prepare a report to come to the floor, come from the floor?
That's going to come from the workshop.
That's why you should have your meeting before.
It is before the council meeting.
What she's saying?
Are you saying now before the workshop?
It should be before the workshop so that we can engage and you guys can do a report from the floor at legislative.
That would mean, if I'm not mistaken, we have our workshop on the first Monday.
Yeah, and you can have the meeting on the second Tuesday, the first Tuesday, that same first week if possible.
Would you be willing to do that on the first Wednesday of the month?
You can talk to her, maybe put it on the website.
If you want to go with that plan, why don't you do the last Wednesday of the month is the committee meeting, then the first Monday of the next month is the workshop,
That makes a lot of
and then,
sense.
so do the last Wednesday of
The
each
last
month.
Wednesday of the month. Okay.
Well, that's how it was before. That's when mine were. That's
But
mine
it was that way. It was the fourth Wednesday of the month, I think.
Yeah.
But this is going to now be the fifth Wednesday of the month. And it's going to be off sometimes.
As long as it's the last one.
Just the last
Just make it not the fourth or the third, just the last.
Because some months are going to have 4 weeks, some months are going to have 5. So we'll just do the last Wednesday.
That's what it was before.
Huh?
That's what it was before.
I think it was the fourth
Are there
Wednesday.
any other residents, excuse me?
We're not going to have any other meetings this month. We'll start it with the fourth Wednesday in March.
Okay. All right.
The last, I'm sorry,
Last
the
Wednesday.
last Wednesday. Don't say the fourth, because sometimes it's the fourth Wednesday, sometimes it's the fifth. So
Okay.
the last Wednesday of every month.
So that will be after legislative?
Yes, but it'll be for the next month.
Yes, but it will be before the workshop, for the next month.
Okay. Okay, the only omission here tonight was any reports from the library, from Yeadon Public Library, or the school district, Mr. Dotson, with the liaison. Yes, you did have. Okay, so the manager's report, okay.
I would report that we attended the groundbreaking, Vice President Johnson, President Sharon Council Harris, the state senator was there, Mr. Williams, our state rep was there, Ms. McClinton, our former state rep, Ms. Curry. If you look in the newspaper, you'll see a number of dignitaries with white hats and gloves breaking ground on the new stadium that's coming this spring. Also, I attended an education meeting with the school board, and we also attended a meeting for, a general meeting for the school board as well. So we are very involved in the school board, the decisions that they're making for our borough, and our borough should be very proud, if you don't mind me saying, in the fact that that new stadium will bring not only resources, but will bring hopefully better students or good students. Not that we don't have good students, but more students to the William Penn School District. That's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Dodson. Are there any residents wishing to speak on any items? Would you come forward, please? That are non-agenda.
Good evening. I have my usual request, Zoom access for residents that cannot attend. A lot of people don't come because they have obligations to family, or they can't drive at night, or other issues, and I have requested every time I come, can we have Zoom access? And I've been told that residents don't want to come because of the bad climate here, but that's not true. We need the Zoom access. We have a Zoom account. We're paying for it, and I don't know why we can't have it. My other concern was at the last workshop meeting and the previous one, Madam President said that those reports from the various departments will be put on the website. So people who can't come, I'd like to know, how can they get the information? The police report, the engineer report, all the handouts that we have here, the AP reports. I don't think it's fair that if you can't come in person, you can't get it. And you did promise that you would put it on the website, and it's not there. And my final question is, what's going on with the Church Lane and Chester Avenue project? Haven't gotten any information about that. If there's any meetings, I'd like to know when I'm going to lose my view of the park when that apartment goes up. Thank you.
Ms. Johnson.
I just want to thank Loren and Carlette for
engaging with the community with your committee meetings. But the question that I have is, there's a safety meeting too. No one said when that meeting was going to take place so that the community could engage. I don't know if I should be addressing this to Hepkins or to Jones Waters, but any one of you can answer.
So the meeting is still the same as far as
What is same?
the fourth Wednesday.
You
Mayor
changed it to a
Hepkins.
Saturday.
No, I don't know what you're talking about Saturday. Mr. Hepkins or Mayor Hepkins, you want to collaborate with me to get something situated?
You never did it, but you said on the
All right.
floor.
Please.
I'll be happy to take it forth. I was doing it when you took it over. I wasn't. I could do it.
Thank you.
I'll do it. Then I would make it. I would change it back to Saturday mornings.
I can't do Saturday. Wednesday works better for me.
Wednesday, what time?
6 o'clock?
6 o'clock on Saturday?
On a Wednesday.
Wednesday, the same day, the same.
Are
we talking the same?
What Wednesday of the month?
The last Wednesday.
Okay. All right. And here?
It's always been the same.
And here?
It's always been the same, downstairs.
I have a question
All right.
with that.
All right. So then we'll make it the.
I have a question.
Okay. Before you answer, I just want to establish it'll be the fourth Wednesday of every month. Okay.
The last Wednesday.
Oh, the last Wednesday. Okay. Whatever the last Wednesday is of every month.
It's the fourth.
Now will be on the last Wednesday of the month?
Well, next month is
know.
5.
That's my question.
So that's what I'm saying,
The last Wednesday. Yeah.
But
Okay.
she wants only the
It's
fourth.
the fourth Wednesday.
You wanted the fourth Wednesday.
It's always been, thank you.
What time?
7? No, 6. 6.
That's a conflict. It was like that before. She has 2 committees, you have 2 committees. They don't know how to.
Same day.
And my other committee is right after. Well, I'm explaining to you, you're talking about my committee meetings. So I'm explaining to you that one committee meeting is after the other. So
We
public
don't know how
safety
to
will
vote.
be
It's
first,
the same
and the
people
community
for all of
affairs
the-
committee will be next.
Yeah,
Can-
Counselor, Mayor, could you clarify?
I'll meet with you. We'll talk about it.
Good.
All right, and then we'll release it to the public.
Appreciate
Yeah.
that.
All right.
So you have
How you-
one meeting at 6, the next meeting is at
Anyone
7.
wants to stay after for if they come to the public safety, they want to remain there to hear what I have to say about community affairs, that's fine. But that's how.
I said safety, I didn't say community affairs.
We'll talk about it and we'll release it.
So that's what it is.
So, yeah, the mayor will get back to you, Mrs. Johnson.
It's apparent that there are 4 counselors on the floor that want to silence residents in their constitutional right to have a voice in how their taxpayers' dollars are spent. If this is not a fact, put your petty differences aside. Put your petty differences aside for the dislike of each other on council. Vote Sharon out. Put someone else in that seat that truly cares about the well-being of Yeadon. It can be anyone as long as they can bring Yeadon forward. I won't say what's on this paper, but we do need to get out of that asshole.
What can I say?
I can imagine what you meant.
Okay. If there's no other business for the
I have
town.
one last report from the Yeadon Public Library.
Okay, Counselor.
No, I'm just going to read a few little excerpts. Storyteller Faith Basama is an author, illustrator, musician, and artist. She came once in November, once in December, and is now scheduled to come twice a month for preschool and once a month for kindergarten. Also, the Nile Swim Club scheduled an event to discuss Tuskegee Airmen for February 18th at 11 through 2. They have a full roster of events happening in February, including our very own Miss Sandra Brown Wright. Reading to the preschoolers on February, but that was yesterday, 15th. Let's see, I think it's one other thing.
Tomorrow's that day.
Okay,
Matinee
tomorrow they have a matinee at, okay. And Joanna McClinton's mobile office has decided to be in the library every Thursday from 10 through 1. That's it.
I want to recognize a former council president present in the house tonight, Ms. Denise Stinson. Could you wave at us? Welcome, welcome. It's great to see you in the audience there. Mr. Green, you close us out, and then there's the adjournment.
I'm not going to get mad. I just want, there's a young man, he's a great young man, his name is Oscar. He works for the Public Works. Instead of having somebody from the outside coming in that is fully qualified electrician, he needs to go to PICO. Right now, let's give Oscar a chance to step up to the plate in Public Works.
Thank you, Mr. Green. This meeting is adjourned.